All right, folks, welcome back to another edition of the Fourth and Fun podcast. As always, I'm your host, Clayton Sauer, here with my co host, Clayton Shekels. He's rocking that sick quarter zip today. I got the
Yeah,
same
boy.
Under Armour red shirt from the time I put my foot in the camera. All right, and today we're going to be starting off, and basically the entire show is going to be about our draft winners and losers. Clayton, we both watched the first round draft here. I got to say, pretty chalk for the most part. There was a few storylines, obviously, Shedeur falling, not just out of the first round or the second or the third.
That's the biggest from that day. The biggest overall, I think, outside of this even have to do with the draft. Outside of Shedeur, is the prank calls.
Oh yeah, and I heard there was a lot more that we didn't hear about. Like Tyler Warren apparently got a couple.
Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
There was a guard or tackle from UConn, Chase Lunt.
Really?
He
I
got.
didn't even know about that.
And did you see they put the apology from the Sun into AI? It was completely AI generated.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
I saw that the what was his name?
Isn't it Ulbrich?
Ulbrich, yes. He got fined like $250,000.
If I'm him, I'm going to my son. I'm like, you're paying it.
No kidding. Could you imagine if you cost your dad $250,000?
I'm making him pay it.
Yeesh. All right, so we'll just jump right into it. I'm going to start with one of my winners, and then we'll head over to Clayton for one of his.
This is in no order.
Yeah, no particular order, just who we think won. Obviously, I'm going to start out with my first one that came to mind, which was the Browns. Now, a lot of people were upset here because they moved down from 2 to 5, which I can understand. You know, the Browns don't have a whole lot going on for them right now. A player like Travis Hunter could do a lot for your franchise, but I think that trade down really did a lot for them. They got a first, a third, a fifth.
They got 5 picks out of it, I think.
I feel like they came away like thieves in the night, and they still got a great player in Mason Graham, who I think will be a big help to them on the D-line.
Oh, yeah.
Which is obviously one of their strengths already, but you add him into the middle of the line, all of a sudden that takes away maybe that double team that comes at Myles Garrett.
And I don't think they had a lot of help in the middle of the interior.
Exactly. So, I mean, you bring in a big guy like him, that really can help anchor it down. And then obviously in the second round, you get Quinshon Judkins. I think most years is the number one running back in the class.
That's to replace Nick Chubb because he's not coming back.
Exactly. And I feel like if you could get somebody that is just like a Nick Chubb to replace a Nick Chubb, it's Quinshon Judkins. He's just a bigger version of him, I think. Maybe he doesn't have that same breakaway speed that Chubb has in the open field, but I think he's an absolute dog.
Oh, no, Henderson's the fast one, isn't he?
I think Henderson's the quicker one of the two. And then obviously, you know, getting a guy in the 5th round who many projected to go number 2, pre-draft number 2 overall, not in the 2nd round, and Shedeur Sanders. You get him in the 5th round, I think that is a big time win. The only issue for me that I have with the Browns draft is that they didn't get, I don't think they got any offensive linemen, or if they did, it would have been late in the draft, and I just can't recall. But I believe the Browns got 0 offensive linemen, and you draft 2 quarterbacks who have never played a single down in the NFL, and you're not going to give them any help at all on the offensive line. That was not great last year.
I think their biggest. I think their best O lineman is Pochich. They lost DeJuan Jones halfway through the season. Oh, don't they have like a good center or something, or do they leave him?
I mean, they're all right at offensive line, but when you're trying to break in 2 rookie quarterbacks, you really want to have a good offensive line, and the Browns just don't, to warrant 0 offensive linemen.
The thing is, like, who's going to make it out of that quarterback room? You can't cut Watson because of his contract and the absolute demolition he's going to do to your cap space, but I think Pickett's going to go. I think Pickett's going to go.
Mm-hmm. And you don't know right now. I mean,
it might be Gabriel might win out. Who knows? I'm going to see if they drafted him.
For me, right now, I feel like he's your best option. You know, even though he's not taking a single snap in the NFL, he looks like the most efficient quarterback that they could have right now.
Did not draft an O-lineman.
Not a single offensive lineman. I didn't think so.
They also got a steal. I thought was one of the better linebackers in this draft. Someone that I wanted to see out of the draft, Carson Schweissinger.
Oh, Schlesinger. Yeah, in the second round. That was one I forgot to write down here, but I thought that was a really good pick as well. All right, Clayton, over to you. You got a winner from this draft?
The New York Giants.
New York Giants. Okay.
I like the Abdul Carter pick. I know they traded. I think they traded quite a bit for that move up to get Dart, but I'm a Dart fan, although mainly because he is going to get to sit for a year behind Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
But I think once he'll either take the job midway through the season, or he's going to come in next year, learning from Russell Wilson. I think they have very similar play styles outside of Dart is a very physical runner, which he's going to have to cut back on in the NFL.
Honestly, I thought it was a good trade up to move up to get him because, you get your guy. Apparently, he was their number 2 on the draft board, or maybe even their number 1 quarterback. And they gave up, I know they gave up their second and a third, possibly another third, which is a lot, but you're getting that first-round value. To me, I think that's a pretty good trade-up if you're getting your guy.
They also drafted D-tackle Darius Alexander, help out. I don't know how Thibodeau's going to... You don't know how Thibodeau's going to be. You got Abdul Carter to help that out, but Sexy Dexy gets some help.
Yeah. It's always good to get him some help.
My favorite pick, I think, is one of the top... Honestly, I don't care about Marion Hampton, all that. Top 3 running back in the draft, Cam Skattebo.
Yes. Yeah. I actually had the Giants as an honorable mention in my winners.
You said Browns, and I was like, oh, no, I forgot.
You forgot about them.
Well, it's not that I forgot. I looking at it, I was like, 2 quarterbacks? I mean, getting darted. Not Dart. Sanders at that value.
Yeah, that was the thing that really propelled them forward for me. That and the trading back and getting an additional first-round pick for next year. I think that is a huge, huge thing for them. You can win the draft by...
For the future.
Exactly, by helping yourself in the future without even knowing who you're going to get. I think that's big. Another winner for me is the Colts. I think that they addressed pretty much every area of need that they had. I think they got... 2 offensive linemen, 2 D linemen.
Outside of quarterback.
That was my big thing. They obviously slam dunk home run number 1 pick, Tyler Warren. How he falls into their lap, I don't know. Great pick for me. And then in the second round, that JT Tuimoloau.
I think it's Tuimoloau. Malo, I don't know. I don't want to butcher his name.
However you say his name, he's an absolute dog. I think he's a great pick that they picked up in the second round. One question that I have about him, Riley Leonard, you picked him up in the 6th round. Good value. How's he different at all than Anthony Richardson, other than he's worse in arm strength? His big thing is that he can run. Anthony Richardson's big thing is that he can run. I don't see how that's an improvement.
I think he's more accurate on reads. Well, sorry.
Maybe the short...
Better on reads. You're going to lose that deep ball threat with him. But, if he can clean up his taking risk and playing hero ball, maybe he's pretty good. He'll end up taking the starting job, and Daniel Jones would be a bridge quarterback. I don't think AR is winning that quarterback battle.
I could see them trading him mid-year.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson. And honestly, right now, if you're another organization, what do you trade to get Anthony Richardson? He has been statistically, based off of completion percentage, the worst quarterback since Tim Tebow.
I'm trading a day 3 pick.
I'm not trading a first rounder. I'm not trading a second, third. I wouldn't trade a 4th for him at this point. Maybe a 5th rounder, just because he does have that live arm. If you can throw the ball 80 yards, that's something that you can't teach, but you also apparently... To this guy, can't teach accuracy.
You know what I could see? Saints trading for him and bringing the next Taysom Hill. That's what I can see.
All right, on to another winner that you had.
Jaguars.
Ooh, okay.
I have the Jaguars. I know he's playing one side of the ball. He's upset about it. He'll get over it. But, Where I preferably want to see him play DB. I don't know what their plans are for him. I haven't looked at it when they told him you get one side of the ball. But, I mean, you get Travis Hunter. You get another corner from Tulane, Caleb Ransall. Picked up an offensive guard in the third round. Yeah, those are your two. You didn't have any second round picks. Sleeper for me, played in the Natty, Jack Kaiser out of Notre Dame.
That's another one
I thought that was a really good pickup. And I think LeQuint Allen, I don't know how Etienne's going to be, but I think LeQuint Allen could be a good backup for Tank Bigsby.
I think the value that you get, what round did they get Etienne, the fourth?
For when they drafted him?
Yeah.
Second or third.
No, Etienne was in like the fourth round, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Not they didn't get the. You talking about the brother or?
Yeah.
They didn't draft the brother.
Oh, that's right. You're talking about the Jaguars. My bad.
Yeah. I don't remember who drafted him.
Well, I think he was a fourth round pick. I like that
was.
pick, whoever got him. All right, so I'll move on to my third, and I hate to do it. It pains me, but the Chiefs.
I refuse to put them on mine.
I mean, they got, for me, a top 5 tackle in this draft at 32, which is what they needed. You know, they needed that offensive line tackle help especially. And then in the second and third round, they went with D-line. They went, I think, D-tackle and then D-end. And then in the fourth round, they got a cornerback in Williams that I think could absolutely be a steal. He had 7 interceptions last year, which led the FBS. I think he's just going to be a really solid guy. I think he was 5th year last year, started his career at UNLV, finished at Cal. I think he's going to be very, very good for them. All right, you go ahead and move on to your next.
Another one I hate to do, the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh, the Packers, okay.
You got, finally, in over 20 years, you draft your first receiver in the first round.
First time in 23 years, if I'm correct.
Since 2002. And it was Matthew Golden, who I think is a really good receiver coming out of Texas.
Oh, very solid.
Was he the jump ball guy?
I think he was just about an everything guy for them. I saw them a lot of times throw to him short crossing routes over the middle, and he's not afraid to go get the ball, which is a big trait that I love in a receiver.
But, I mean, you got Jordan Love, who's got a big arm. He's got the speed for it. Now you're no longer throwing to Romeo Doubs and whoever else they got. Watson, he's never healthy. I don't even know who else they have. Couldn't tell you. And then draft offensive tackle and Anthony Bennett, or Belton, sorry, from NC State. So I think that helps, because I know we talked yesterday on average player. You said David Bakhtiari.
Yeah.
He can never stay healthy. Finally retired, just kind of like either got released or retired because of him. Got a guy to replace him. You got another receiver in Savion Williams. Didn't address, well, I guess the whole Jair thing is up in the air, like his future. Didn't get a corner to replace him outside of the corner they draft in the 7th round, but
to me that sounds like they're thinking they have a way to work it out with Jair.
But if you lose him, what does Valentine become your number one?
It becomes a huge hole in your defense if you do lose him.
Kentucky fan, love Valentine. Not a number 1 corner.
No, certainly not.
Definitely a 2 or 3, not a 1.
All right, on to another winner that I had, the Oakland, formerly now the Las Vegas Raiders.
Another honorable mention for me. I was really debating them, and
Well, I mean, to me, it is a quintessential Pete Carroll draft. If you look at his teams, even going back to college, what is his offense built on? A great running game. When he was at his best, he had Marshawn Lynch in the NFL.
Yeah.
When he was at his best in college, he had Reggie Bush. He had Lindale White. He had another big white running back at USC before he had Reggie Bush and Lindale White. That was, if he didn't go to the NFL, he was good enough to go to the NFL. And then obviously now they get Ashton Genty. A lot of miles on those tires,
I
but
don't think it matters.
I was going to say in today's day and age with how healthy they can make all the players, I think he's got at least another 5-6 years of prime.
And they're going to say, oh, you only played Mountain West, against Mountain West competition. Playing against Oregon, 258 yards.
Oh, yeah,
Oregon
we've
was
talked about that.
Oregon was like a, top 10 defense? And then he gets in the playoffs. Yeah, he didn't do a lot. That's because schools were finally like, let's send 8 guys after him.
Oh, yeah, when you've got 8 in the box, it's tough to do your thing, but he still had, 90 yards?
Yeah.
The game that they lost against Penn State?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a good defense.
The average running back against 8 men in the box, and you still get 90 yards?
And they showed
that's very, very impressive.
They showed a statistic. It was 7 in the box, and he was still getting good yards. Like, he was averaging, 3 or 4 yards a carry with 7 in the box.
That's just a different level good. Behind a Boise State offensive line, which, let's be honest, most of their starters would not start in the Power 5. And then in the second round, they get a sneaky good receiver for me, Jack Beck. I think that's how you say his name. Is it Betch or Beck? I want to say it's Beck. It's Bech. I think he flew under the radar for quite a few people, but that's a good pick for them in the second round. And then they got 2 offensive linemen and 2 different defensive linemen as well. I think those are, picks that if they don't start, they're at least going to shore up your rotation. And in the NFL, the best ability is availability. So, I mean, if your starters go down or if they need to get a rest for a few plays, those guys coming in could be extremely valuable to possibly get the Raiders in contention against the Broncos, against the Chiefs, against the Chargers, to maybe sneak a few wins in there. Obviously, I don't think they did enough to put them in the playoffs, but I think that this draft brought them to a level where even if they're 500 this year,
it's an improvement.
I was going to say, if you look at a power rankings perspective, they could be top 15. Even though they're the worst still in their division, they could be a top 15 team overall.
And maybe not, and I don't know what their draft capital is next year. I know they didn't really address O-line. If you do go 500, just a little under 500, oh, there you go. Go reload the offensive line.
Exactly. All right.
My other winner, Baltimore Ravens. And I got 2 main reasons for that. You get Malachi Starks to pair up with Hamilton now.
Yes.
That's going to be scary to throw deep against. Then, all because of, off the field issues, you get Mike Green in the second round for that pass rush. You get 2 studs in your first 2 rounds.
I mean, that's just the rich getting richer. It's like with the Chiefs.
I mean, they already had a good defense.
Exactly.
And you get Malachi Starks and Mike Green. That's going to be a defense that you're not going to want to face.
And obviously, Malachi Starks is a day 1 starter.
Yeah.
So you got 2 different safeties that are just phenomenal. Both can come downhill and hit you, and I think both are really good ball hawks too. So, I mean, what do you do? That, to me, is a pick that says, we don't just want to get to the AFC Championship this year. We want to win.
And they want to beat the crap out of... And the 2 quarterbacks they want to beat the crap out of, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes.
And how do you beat those 2? It's not with a great pass rush.
Well...
Unless you can contain the outside as well. Because that's what the Eagles did that was different than most teams. They didn't just get one guy through. They got a guy through, and then they still had the outsides pinned. That's where Mahomes really makes his magic. That's where Allen makes his magic.
Same with and honestly, Joe Burrow the same way. He'll roll out, and he'll just chuck it right up.
But if your secondary can cause him to, he makes his first read, his second read, and then all of a sudden he looks down, and he's got DNs coming around the outside, all he's got to do is step up. That's all he can do.
Which Burrow is still good at. Like, he's still good at stepping up. But I think the big ones would be Mahomes and Allen.
I just think that they have pretty much made their defense, if not complete, the closest thing to complete that we can see in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the end of winners for you?
I think
you got my honorable mention.
I think that alone just deserves to win. I mean, they had a lot of picks. They drafted a kicker,
which could end up being pretty valuable
and
if
Tyler
Justin
Luke
Tucker
is not a bad kicker.
Yeah.
So
I'm not a huge fan of drafting kickers, but
with what you got going on right now in your organization,
yeah.
Let alone Tucker was just not good last year. So
one of his worst seasons, if I'm not mistaken.
You got that many picks right there. I mean, that looks like double-digit picks. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, you're just looking at something that can be surefire. If you think he's surefire,
and you're a pretty stout team.
Not?
Why do you know? There's not a lot of holes you need to fill.
All right, well that's it for me on winners.
Unless you 4?
I did 5. Browns, Colts, Chiefs, Raiders.
Oh,
on to my 5th, the Patriots. This is one that not a lot of people are going to be talking about, not super flashy, but to me this just shows that you're willing to build around Drake May and you think he's your guy. Obviously, first overall for them was Campbell. Now, he's got the short arms. That could be an issue. You know, obviously, if the defensive ends can get leverage underneath of him, that could be an issue. But you give up 3 total sacks in your entire career.
At SEC play, where the D-line, not Big Ten level, but still pretty good.
They're high Power 5.
Yeah.
You know, he's facing, he went against, like, James Pierce last year, who is
Shamar Stewart,
a first-round pick, who is second-round pick, right? Shamar Stewart, first round?
Bengals.
I was going to say, he faced a lot of first-round picks last year, held his own. And then in the second round, Travion Henderson, I think that's going to help take a lot of load off of Drake May as well. You know, I mean, they load up the outside, to stop the pass, do a little quick draw, Henderson right up the middle. And then obviously 2 other offensive linemen. That just shows me that the Patriots, if not ready to take a jump, are getting to the point where they think May's almost there, we're ready, let's get going.
My one takeaway from them, they did not draft a receiver. Because,
that's true.
You got Jalen Polk did not do good.
I thought they picked up a receiver. It escapes my name, my brain, who they picked up. But I thought they picked up a pretty decent receiver.
I know they were trying to get DK. Didn't happen. I think DK would have been better off going there.
Justin Jefferson. No, damn it. Stephon Diggs. That's who they picked up.
Okay.
Stephon Diggs, yes.
I think you still got to get, because, who is his number 1? Kendrick Bourne?
It'd be Stephon Diggs now.
I guess Kendrick Bourne could be a good number 2.
They got some good young guys.
I think they should have gotten a young receiver in the mid-rounds, but maybe that's the next year pick.
For me, the biggest help that you can give a young quarterback is a good offensive line, even more so than a receiver. And I have
the best tackle.
A loser who went receiver early and not much offensive line. But that's for later. All right.
I saw who it was.
On to your last winner, Clayton.
You said it. The Indianapolis Colts. Tyler Warren falls right to your lap.
Yep.
The Bears go Loveland, which I get it, but get Tyler Warren out there?
Possibly more upside, not as NFL ready in my opinion.
Like JT,
Yep.
They got a corner from Minnesota to help out Kenny Moore, because
yep,
you got to get a corner if you want. Which they got Ward. They did get Ward. But now you got a number 2 if he starts day 1. And you can finally move Kenny Moore back to the slot where he excels at.
Yeah, more in that hybrid position.
Yeah. Like you said, the Riley Leonard pick, is it going to end up being good? Is it not?
It's solid value, but to me it's still a head-scratcher.
Someone's going to have to go in that quarterback room. You got Sam Ellinger, Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones, which I think AR is going to go. I think Ellinger is going to go practice squad, and I think Leonard's going to be backup.
There's no way they drop Anthony Richardson.
They're going to trade him.
Oh, trade. Yeah,
And it may be after preseason.
I don't know.
It may be after preseason. He might go up trade block, like as soon as preseason starts. If he loses that quarterback battle.
I mean, to me, I think the way it would be, obviously, is Richardson 1, Jones 2, and then Leonard 3.
That's it.
That could change once the season starts, but I think right now that's what the Colts are thinking.
He's got to win it, and I have zero confidence he will.
Yeah.
I think, yes, Daniel Jones had a bad career in New York. He did a whole lot better, in my opinion, than what AR has done.
Oh, leaps and bounds. Not even close.
So I don't think he's going to win that quarterback battle at all, and I think that's going to be the end of the AR project in Indianapolis.
Yep. I agree with you. He's not there, and
he's not accurate.
He's not showing improvement, and then obviously last year he took himself out of a game because he was tired.
You don't do that as a quarterback.
How do you do? It's bad enough if a defensive lineman were to do that in the fourth quarter, but you're the quarterback, the leader of the team, the guys rally behind.
You didn't see Peyton Manning trying to take a playoff. You didn't see Tom Brady. I'll stop naming greats. I'll start naming.
Hell, you didn't see Rex Grossman do that.
You don't see who's someone more on his level. Probably like not all-time great, but like Kirk Cousins. You don't see Kirk Cousins taking a playoff. You don't see Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, all of them taking a playoff.
No, not a chance.
Baker runs just as physical as AR. For a smaller dude, don't see him coming off the field.
Absolutely not. I mean, that's to me is why he became a great in Tampa Bay. You got any more honorable mentions, or should we move on?
No, I said them as you were listening.
Yep. All right. On to the losers. Now, I only have 3. I set out to make 5, but I really don't think there was that many that had a bad draft, in my opinion. I got 3, so if you got 5, I'll let you take over after. To me, the first loser that came to mind for me was the Falcons. Now, obviously, wasn't going to be a great draft regardless. You only had 5 picks coming into it. But you didn't draft a single offensive lineman that could be a starter to help out your second-year quarterback. You, in my opinion, reached on 2 different defensive ends or edge players in the first round. Traded back into the first round to get James Pierce. I'm not sure about that pick. And then 2 safeties, also weird. I really don't understand really what the Falcons were going for in their draft. To me, it was swing and a miss. And not even that good of a swing.
It was like it was like a fastball up here, and you're going,
oh yeah,
tomahawk.
I mean, it was like a fastball up here, and they took a pitching wedge swing.
The coach, I thought it was
wide. It is a very Falcons type draft, in my opinion, and that's going to be the same thing I say about the next team.
I took Okay, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I took another NFC South team, the New Orleans Saints.
I thought about them too.
I don't think the Kelvin Banks draft was bad, but I think you probably could have traded down to get him. I think you could have traded down to get him.
And that's interesting because there was another team in the NFC that I almost did that with, but I didn't do it because I thought.
Listen here, bud.
It was the Seahawks. I this close.
I loved our draft.
I thought Gray Zabel was a good pick. I thought where you picked him was bad value.
There was a report we were going to draft at safety.
Malachi Starks?
No, Nick. The South Carolina safety.
At 18?
We were going to draft him at.
Wow,
but we decided hold off on it. We had the number 3 pick in the second. Drafted number 3. I love that pickup as well.
Solid for second round, which
I love
is about where I think Zabel should have gone.
I questioned our tight end pick, but I was like, Fant's all right. Maybe he can take Fant's spot. Maybe, I don't know.
I think solid pick.
But we run
nothing spectacular.
We run 3 tight end set, so I mean, But another thing is we have AJ Barner, who I think is decent. But anyways,
Yeah, onto your team.
you're gonna hate this. Not a fan of the Tyler Schleck pick. Not.
I'm a fan of the pick in general, but not where you.
That's what I was
him.
gonna say. Not in the second round. You could have drafted him 4th or 5th round, in my opinion. I mean,
well, honestly, from all the talk that was coming out, I don't think he was going to slide that far. Like, several teams had him as their 1 or 2 quarterback.
I don't know if they panicked and got scared that, like, someone was going to draft him, so we have to get our quarterback now. But, I mean, I just feel like there were some other guys you could have took.
I just feel like there was a lot of guys this year in the 1st and 2nd round that teams picked that were a good pick, but value-wise, not that good of a pick. Like, for him, could have been drafted lower. For Zabel, could have been drafted lower.
The D-line pick's okay. Vernon Broughton out of Texas. You draft Jonas Sanker out of Virginia when you got the Honey Badger and Justin Reed's coming. You signed Justin Reed in free agency.
Yeah.
So you draft him in the 3rd round, which sometimes those people start. I do like, one pick I do like out of him, it was Danny Stutzman, the Oklahoma linebacker. I do like that pick. And then Devin Neal. But outside of that,
For me, the Quincy Riley pick was good because you're drafting him to be your 3rd corner.
I saw that name. I was like, that sounds familiar, but
I think that's a good value pick in that position. Obviously, didn't have a whole lot of interceptions, but a great shutdown corner when he was at Louisville.
Who's your corner? They don't have anybody. They traded away Marshawn Lattimore.
I don't think he'll do well if you put him at corner 1 to start the season.
He is corner 1 if he were to start, because I don't know any other corners.
I mean, I think you could.
Defense is terrible. It's a terrible defense.
I could see him being a very solid corner 2. To me, he's that guy that takes away the middle for the slots. Especially year 1. I mean, year 2, year 3. I think he could develop into your number 1, but I think he's a guy that has to be eased into that. Very good at getting himself between ball and offensive player. I just don't know.
I regret putting them.
And then, so for me, another loser, the Carolina Panthers. Not a single offensive lineman in the entire draft. They had, I believe, 7 picks, 8 picks possibly. Didn't get a single offensive lineman, not one. That's inexcusable. You're trying to build around Bryce Young, or maybe they're not. But you can't draft a single offensive lineman. That's just incredibly sad to me. And then their 1st round pick, I'm a fan of Tate McMillan, don't get me wrong, but that high when you need so much more than receiver, I just think it's a weird pick to me. I mean, you've already got Xavier Legette. You've got a very suspect offensive line, a suspect defensive line, basically a whole suspect defense. Tate McMillan was not a need number 1 for me, and yet you draft him. All right.
So I was going to say Chargers because I completely forgot about their Trey Harris pick. Because I was like, no wide receiver. And then I was like, they drafted Trey Harris, who is a big body, very physical guy, really good run after catch. I was just mainly looking at the Marion Hampton pick because
I did see that as a weird pick. You've already got Kyron Williams.
Okay. But since that, I'm going to skip to the Lions.
Okay, the Lions.
The Detroit Lions. You drafted D tackle. Okay, great. I do like the Tate Ratledge pick.
Yeah.
But I guess they don't have a whole lot of holes to fix. But that secondary needed help. And they didn't get a safety until the 7th round.
Yeah. Yeah, that seemed like an odd choice to me.
They didn't get it. They got an edge rusher out of Boise State at 6 when it was very clear when your big guys went down with injury, and I don't remember who they signed free agency. Maybe they helped in that department.
I don't really think
But
much.
when those guys went down, what'd you get it? 20-something injuries on defense? That's a little ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous.
That's really tough to contend with.
And you still made it to the NFC Championship. No, you made it to the NFC Divisional. I just kind of caught up. But I just don't think they addressed depth as urgently as I thought they did. My favorite pick out of them was Tate Ratledge, and that was just a guy I wanted Seattle to draft.
Yeah, solid prospect, I think.
Yeah.
Could definitely be a good rotational piece.
That's about all I got to say on it. I mean, because those day 3 guys, I mean, the likelihood of them starting is low. Can happen. I've seen it with Chris Carson, who was drafted in the 7th round. You've seen it with like Brock Purdy. But I mean,
It's like a roll of the dice with those day 3 guys most of the time. All right, so my other loser I found was the Buccaneers, and this is just because of the way that they went, the direction that they went. Again, a receiver seems like a weird pick to me. I mean, you've already got, in my opinion, a top 5 receiver of all time on your roster right now.
top 5 all time.
Oh, yeah. Based on what he's done already and what is going to continue to do. The only receiver in NFL history to have 13 consecutive seasons of 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
That's pretty darn
there's
impressive.
just been a lot of good receivers in the NFL.
That's true, but nobody else in the history of the NFL has ever done that.
True.
And then you've also got Chris Godwin. You're drafting Egbuka to either slide into number 2 and move over Godwin, which would be weird based on how much you're paying Godwin, or you're drafting him to be your number 3, which seems like a big mistake to me for a team that wants to compete for NFC championships, Super Bowl appearances. I don't understand that. They went corners in rounds 2 and 3, which I like. I don't love. They got no safety. They didn't get one safety, which seemed like a area of need. You got Antoine Winfield and who?
Okay,
Who?
I thought they had a Davis, but I don't think so.
Didn't draft a single linebacker. Defense was your problem last year, and you barely addressed it. Just corner. I don't know. To me, that was another head-scratching draft. Not a huge fan of the Buccaneers draft.
Bowles. This one might be a little questionable. I said Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
Just because Shamar Stewart felt like should have been a 2nd-round guy.
Yeah.
He only had 4.5 sacks.
I think he had 4.5 for his career.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
Not just last year, for his career.
It's not great. I do like Demetrius Knight. But then you go, I guess they do need guard. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of their draft. Because I think they could have got a better edge. I mean, I get the whole character thing. Mike Green is sitting right there.
How he falls, I get character-wise, you don't want to have a accused domestic abuser. I think he's just accused at this point. I don't want to say anything else on the subject because I'm obviously not that educated on it. But talent-wise, top 15 pick.
That's my big thing. And, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about their draft. Maybe it actually turns out to be a freaking hit. And that's how I feel about a lot of these winners and losers. I could be wrong on the freaking Packers. Maybe Golden ends up being a bust. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's just obviously conjecture,
But, I mean, my big thing with them is, just their edge pick. Shamar, he was hyped up, everything, but 4.5 sacks your entire career and you're an edge rusher?
Yeah.
And I don't know what A&M defense ran, but I mean, you're an edge rusher. You're on the field a lot. You can only get 4.5 in your career. And
that doesn't sound like a pick in the NFL.
It's even if you didn't start until your junior year, it's still that's like 2 sacks a season.
That's terrible value.
Yeah.
And This is my dog Cookie.
she
If you
could-
heard the ringing in the background, this was her.
She couldn't stay away.
She needed some attention. All right, Clayton. On to your last loser.
Oh, I made a. I have two more because I replaced my.
Oh, we
Chargers.
got two more. Okay.
The Denver Broncos.
Say hi, Cookie.
Denver Broncos, because you get RJ Harvey. Pretty sure he's like 24 at running back.
Mm.
You get the Baron pick's great because I mean him and Pat Surtain, but you don't help Bo Nix out at all. No O lineman, none.
I almost put them in my losers because I didn't understand the Barron pick. He's a good pick. Again, a lot of these guys, I'm saying it, but he's a good pick. Don't get me wrong. I don't like him for the Broncos. They had other needs. I thought Hampton would have been a slam dunk pick for them.
No lineman, and with your 6th-round pick, you draft a punter.
Yeah, punter's wild. A punter,
You
a
draft
punter
a
being
punter.
drafted, period, is wild
Like,
to me.
I don't think they hit, and they did hit some edges. They hit 2 edges and a wide receiver because, I mean, who knows? Maybe Cortland Sutton goes, somebody. But,
And
again,
who was the receiver pick? I remember liking him quite a bit. Pat Bryant, yeah, from
But
Illinois.
still, no O-lineman.
Yeah.
Is your best O-lineman, like, what, Quisenberry or something? Like,
Well, and that's another one that, you got a second-year quarterback. You're hoping for him to take another step forward.
And he had a great year. Like, he started off slow, but he had a good year. And you don't help him out protection-wise.
It's tough to read a breaking route if it doesn't have time to break.
Yeah, so I think that there's nothing. That is my main reason why, like, they're losers. Like, you can't. Like, what the Patriots did is what the Broncos should have done. I know they probably had less picks.
Exactly.
That's what they should have done instead of. I get it, Barron's sitting there at 20, but
Like, what the Patriots think May is going to be is what the Broncos have at quarterback right now.
yeah.
I mean,
I know he's
you want
older,
Nix
and let
to
alone
take that step.
he's
help
older.
him.
He's older, so you're gonna have less prime out of him. You got to protect him. If he's gonna be taking shots, especially
Agreed.
with the Chiefs D line. You got Khalil Mack on the Chargers, and then I don't know who the Raiders. Max Crosby.
I was going to say, you
Max
got Crosby coming in at you.
You got star D lineman, all Pro Bowler D lineman on every single team in your division. And you don't get a single lineman to help protect him.
Honestly, they should have and could have drafted Josh Simmons there as well.
Yeah,
The guy that went to the Chiefs. I thought that would have been a great pick for them as well.
but they pass up. They take a corner when you already have Pat Surtain. I get it.
And obviously,
But
Barron a good pick, but the corner from Michigan was still on the board at that
Will
time.
Johnson, which
Will
was the
Johnson.
Cardinals were one of my honorable mentions for winners, but I don't want to put 2 NFC West winners. Whenever I didn't want to be a homer and put my team. That's what I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
And then for my last, actually, I do have another NFC West team, the Rams, as my loser.
You did end up going with the Rams. Okay.
No first round pick again, and you know their whole saying, F them picks. What was your first pick you drafted tight end?
Yeah.
When you have Higbee already.
Yeah, Higbee's solid, but
And I mean,
I could understand that a little bit.
To me, their biggest pick was Chris Paul Jr. out of Ole Miss, and that wasn't until the 5th round.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't know how their O line is now, but I think you lose Cooper Kupp, you don't draft a wide receiver until the 7th round, which I'm pretty sure they lost Robinson, and they lost Tutu Atwell.
Yeah.
You got Puka Nacua talking about he's going to retire when he's 30. Your safeties, I'm not sure. I think they have Cameron Curl.
I don't even know, and I don't think they're especially strong at corner.
Like, I think you had other needs outside of let's draft a tight end with our first pick when we already don't have a first-round pick. And for some reason, I'm looking at this. I don't get it at all. Day 1 grade, A-. They didn't do anything day 1. How can you grade it? They traded out of the first round. How does that at A-? Unless they got a good return for it?
That's what I was going to say, just based on what they could get in the future, I guess.
I didn't look at the trade because, honestly, I didn't even know they traded until the next day.
Were they the... I don't even know who they traded with. Were they the ones that traded with the Giants?
Oh, they had to have been because they were like the 20th pick.
Yeah, 24.
Yeah, so they had to have been.
I think it might have been them.
They must have gotten something good, but I'm not a big fan of their draft for what they could have done. And you have a quarterback on his last 2 years, probably.
Yeah, I mean, if this isn't his last year.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we're running up against it on time. We're already at over 45 minutes, I think. Clayton, do you have one big takeaway from the draft?
I think we're going to see another instance of what the Commanders did, and you're going to see like one of those teams that drafted high absolutely aced it on their pick, and they're going to come out of nowhere. Not saying they'll win their division, but they will make the playoffs.
Do you have any... You don't have any inklings as to who it might be? For me, if somebody were to do that...
I think it will be the Jaguars.
I mean, if Hunter is as good as they say, it could definitely make Trevor Lawrence that much better.
If Texans,
make them...
It depends on Texans' O-line with that. That's what it really comes down to. Stroud has the kind of pressure he had in his face. Last year, I think either we're going to see 3 teams out of that division in the playoffs, or you're going to see 2, and it might be Texans in the same situation Seattle was, going 10-7 on the outside looking in.
To me, that's still the worst division in football.
Yeah.
The AFC South. It's a joke.
I mean, the Titans, I don't see them competing.
No, they might be the worst team in the NFL next year.
I think they'll have improvement, but I could see...
You need Cam Ward to play some real good football if you want to be 500.
And it also comes down to how Trevor Lawrence plays.
Exactly. That, to me, is what makes the Jaguars a playoff contender or a 6-win team. My big takeaway, this draft was historically bad for quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
Just historically bad. I mean, Cam Ward last year would have been the 4th quarterback taken. And he was the consensus number 1 of number 1 quarterbacks this year. Not a great pick for me for a number 1 overall historically looking at quarterbacks. Unheralded, in my opinion.
Hate to say it, but when we'll let you see your starting quarterback, you don't really have an option.
And then for me, Jackson Dart, another guy I don't think was a first-round talent.
Okay.
Got him going at 24. Second round, maybe. I could see that. Tyler Shuck going at 40. Another guy that was reached on. Don't really agree with it. I mean, most of the quarterbacks drafted this year, I think, were on the 3rd day. Like 6th round, 7th round. Obviously, you had Will Howard go in the 6th. You had Quinn Ewers go in the 7th. Riley Leonard go in the 6th. Not a whole lot of quarterbacks that were just game changers coming out this year.
That made me think of another loser. Steelers.
Oh, because they missed out on quarterbacks? Got none? I thought about them too, but I think they got better at so many other positions.
They're just like, we'll deal with it for this year.
It sounds like Aaron Rodgers has to be coming.
But
if that's the case.
You know how Rodgers is. He doesn't want to make a decision.
All right, folks, that'll wrap up another edition of the Fourth and Fun podcast. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button.